What's really going on at the Flying J truck stop in Resaca, Georgia? Because in January of 2020, two young people disappeared from the same truck stop just 2 days apart. One was 21 years old, the other was only 20. One would eventually be found deceased approximately 5 miles away. The other has never been found. And while investigators have said there is no evidence publicly establishing that the two cases are connected, the similarities have continued to raise questions. But before we get into those questions, I want you to know who they were. Because Caleb Smith and Keeslyn Roberts were more than two names attached to a mystery. Caleb Nathaniel Smith was born on November 16th, 1998, in Dalton, Georgia. He was just 21 years old when his life came to an abrupt and tragic end. According to his obituary, Caleb dreamed of becoming someone who studies reptiles and amphibians. He also enjoyed working with his hands. He helped friends and families with mechanical projects, demolition work, and landscaping. And he was described by his family as loving and caring, someone who took pride in helping other people and spending time with the people he loved. But on January 16th, 2020, Caleb left home expecting to see friends. And according to accounts from his family, he told his grandmother that he planned to come home that night. He never did. Caleb was traveling in the area when he stopped at the Flying J in Resaca, Georgia. The truck stop sits near Interstate 75. It's a place built around a lot of movement. People stop, they get gas, they eat, they use the restroom, and then they get back on the highway. But sometime after midnight, Caleb entered the Denny's restaurant, which is attached to the Flying J. Surveillance footage does reportedly capture him sitting in the restaurant. There was another man there. Caleb sat at another table facing him. And at some point, Caleb called his grandmother. He told her he didn't have enough gas to make it to Rome and was going to get money for gas. And then Caleb walked out. That would become the last known sighting of him alive. His vehicle, however, remained at the Flying J, and Caleb was gone. Caleb's family began looking for him. Search efforts followed. There was a major problem. The public record and reporting surrounding the case has repeatedly raised questions about surveillance coverage outside the building. There was footage inside the business, but the parking lot did not provide investigators with the same kind of visual trail. And that leaves us with a very important question. What happened after Caleb walked outside? Where did he go? Who, if anyone, did he leave with? And how did he end up approximately 5 miles away? On February 2nd of 2020, a fire was reported near Hill City Road in Sugar Valley, Georgia. Emergency crews responded. And while dealing with the fire, a man's body was discovered in a nearby wooded and marshy field area. The body was approximately 5 miles from the Flying J. It was Caleb. And according to the medical findings reported in the case, Caleb died from methamphetamine intoxication. His death was ruled accidental. There was no finding of a homicide. But the circumstances surrounding where Caleb was found has continued to trouble his family and people who have followed the case. His body was found without clothing or shoes, and his personal belongings were not found with him. And Caleb's mother, April Arrington, has continued to question whether her son's death deserves another look.
21-year-old Caleb Smith disappeared from this Flying J in Resaca in January of 2020. His mother has been searching for answers.
Once he goes outside, there's no cameras, no surveillance cameras in the parking lot. So he was never, seen on camera again.
At the truck stop, Caleb's car was found, but he was not. Until 17 days later, there was a brush fire, and a man on an ATV found Caleb's body in what investigators described as a marshy cutover woodland area.
His body was found 5 miles away from the Flying J, completely nude, laying on privately owned property. His clothes were not found near his body. We were told that it was a controlled burn.
An autopsy and toxicology report found that Caleb died from methamphetamine intoxication or a drug overdose. But for his mother, she always felt there was more to the story, so she pressed for answers. And just last week, she got this report from the Georgia Forestry Commission saying the fire near where Caleb's body was found was determined to be incendiary. The investigator writing that it's my determination that the fire was set in hopes of destroying the body or any evidence.
It just floored me to see that on paper, that indeed, that it was related to what had happened to him. I felt like our family had been lied to.
April is on a one-woman mission to get her son's case reopened.
I just felt like they just failed to investigate.
She started a petition online and says she will push to figure out what happened to Caleb, no matter how long it takes.
As his mother, it's my duty to see some justice done in his case. I've had to go 4 years and just feel like I'm being ignored.
There are questions surrounding the circumstances that people continue to ask. And then, 2 days after Caleb disappeared, another young person would vanish from the exact same truck stop.